Hey there, Kevin from Happy Coding here, and today I'm pretty excited because I just discovered this like trend or this movement or this event. I don't know what you would call it, but it's like an all month through January event where each day you get a different prompt. It's called January because it's all about like generating different designs, different like artistic creative coding pieces, and that's right up my alley, so I am into it. Today is January 17th, so I'm a little bit late to the party, but the idea is that every day you get a different sort of prompt to think about, and then you use that prompt to come up with some interesting creative coding project. So I discovered this on Twitter, and the hashtag January is really cool, and I am trying to not have too much of my like artistic imposter syndrome by looking at all these cool things that other folks are doing. But I really love it. It seems like a cool like community type thing, so I think I'm going to try to participate in some way. So today's video will be me trying to do that. So like I said, every day has a different prompt, and I am late to the party, so I've got to scroll down quite a bit to get to today. And today's prompt is draw a line, pick a new color, move a bit. And I can sort of look at what other folks are posting. It's kind of from yesterday, but like here's one that this person posted. Looks really cool. And I could scroll through here, and I full disclosure, I did scroll through here quite a bit this morning, and it's just really cool. I really like it. So anyway, I am thinking about how I want to sort of fulfill this prompt and draw a line, pick a new color, move a bit. Honestly, that sounds pretty similar to some examples I've already put together. So I could do something with this curved grid I did yesterday where each line is a different color. I could do something with the random walker, which was sort of the first video that I posted. This is, pretty much draw a line, pick a different color, move a bit, right? But I feel like it's kind of cheating to go back and just post something I already put together as my new creation. So although I do think that this is really cool, I think I'm going to try to do something a little different. Similar, here's random lines. This is like straight up just random colored lines, and I posted this a few days ago, and I think it's cool, but I think for this January thing, I want to maybe take it to another level. Like this is, basically this is 2 lines of code, and this is just to demonstrate a few principles, but I'm not sure if it's really what I would put out there as my sort of artifact of January. So what I'm trying to think of is maybe what I want to do is draw a line, and that line will be from 2 kind of random endpoints, and those endpoints will kind of bounce around the screen so that the line sort of moves around the screen, and then do like a random color each time, or maybe like a random walk through color space each time. So that's kind of where my head's at. I haven't drawn anything out on a piece of paper or anything, but I just kind of want to get coding and see what happens, and see if anything interesting comes out of this, and if not, that's okay too. So let me think about how I want to do this. I think what I want to do is maybe start by declaring some variables, maybe like start x and end and start y, and then end x and end y, and those 2 points will be the start point and the end point of my line, and I'm going to bounce those 2 variables around the screen. So let me draw a line from start x, start y, end x, end y. And I haven't given these variable values yet, so maybe let me just start them random. Equals random width, and start y equals random height, And kind of the same deal for the end point. It's just kind of a random position. And X and Y. And yeah, let's just see what this looks like. And you know, it's not too exciting yet, but it is indeed a random line. And I could do something like, maybe I move this down. You know, it's not really super useful that these are variables yet, but I'm hoping that that comes in handy in a minute. But this will cause a random line to be drawn 60 times a second. And let me maybe get rid of this background. Yeah, that's already kind of interesting. This is pretty similar to that example I posted a few days ago with just the random lines, where it ends up looking like this if I give them random colors. But I don't know, man, that black and white kind of looks cool by itself. What I might do is give it like maybe like a stroke of 0, but like mostly invisible, you know. So I just want to see what this looks like. So they sort of combine over time into something interesting. Maybe that's a little too dim, so let me darken it just a little bit. Yeah, maybe. So I kind of like that, you know, it's kind of an emergent thing, but it kind of forms these little patterns that look a little darker, and it looks like it might be, you know, intentional, but really it's just random lines. Kind of looks maybe like if you zoom out, it kind of looks like a map, maybe. Anyway, black and white, I guess the prompt says pick a new color, so I think maybe just combining black and white is not going to be super interesting. So let me go back to kind of my original idea, where I'm going to, maybe let me create like a, so what I'm trying to think of is creating like a speed variable for these. And yeah, let me just do it. It's kind of gross just to have a bunch of variables, but whatever. So what do I want? I want start x speed, or I can do like delta start x, I guess. Like how much start x will change each time, and same thing for all the other coordinates. So delta start y. And I want the same thing for my end point. Again, maybe this should have been a class or something, but it's okay. If you haven't learned about classes, then you know, don't worry about it. So let me make these changeable, and then something like delta start x equals random value between, I don't know, maybe between -5 and 5, something like that. And you know, same thing for my other speed variables. So start y, end x, and end y. So now I've given them random values between -5 and 5. And what do I want to do? I want to do something like start x plus equals delta start x. So I'm moving the x and y values by the delta value to start. Y, same deal for the end point. You know, maybe I could have just started it from 0, 0 just to get something working, but yeah, we'll see where this takes me. And x and y. And so now they're just kind of going to go off in a direction. And let me just run this and see what this looks like. Yeah, that's kind of cool. So you see like the start point and the end point is moving over time. And if I run, it's going to be a little bit different every time. It's kind of funny looking. I kind of like this kind of fade effect. Maybe if I get a color in there, that'll be more interesting. That's trippy. So the next thing I want to do is kind of constrict the variables. And so let me see what I want to do here. So I want to do something like if start x is less than 0, or if start x is greater than width, then multiply it by -1. Wait, multiply the delta by -1. Delta start x times equals -1. So that's going to make it sort of bounce off the left and right, and I kind of want to do the exact same thing for all 4 variables. And I'm trying to think if there's a smarter way to do this, but yeah, whatever. So I want to do the same thing. I'm going to probably copy paste this and make a mistake and spend 5 minutes debugging, but whatever, here we are. So it's going to be start y, start y. I don't know if I'm actually saving myself any time by doing that copy paste. So delta start y. So now my first point will sort of bounce around the screen and my second point will fly off in a random direction. Let's just check that. So I don't know which one's the first point, which one's the second point, but I also don't know where those points actually are showing up. Let me maybe put this background call back in and let me get rid of this so it's just black again. Yeah, so there you see like the second point is bouncing around. I'm a little suspicious that it's only bouncing, it's only going like left and right. I don't actually see it going up and down, so I might have missed something here. So I've got my start x and my start y. I set start y to a random height. I have delta start y. And then I have start y plus equals here and plus equals here. So yeah, there you go. You see the first point bouncing around the screen and the second point kind of goes off in a random direction. And what I want to do is do the exact same thing with my end point so that it kind of bounces. So end x is going to be end x, this is going to be end x, this is going to be end y. So making my second point bounce around exactly the same way I did my first point. Again, maybe that should be in a class or something, but whatever. And y. So now I should see both points kind of bouncing around, and I think I do. And that was a lot of copy paste, so let me do something. Let me check that I didn't mess anything up with like the width and height variables. So that looks like it's still working. Let me go the other way. I do this just to check that you know, I didn't misplace, like I use width instead of height or height instead of width anywhere. So if it works in both kind of resolutions, then I think I got it right. So let me change that back. And this is getting pretty close to what I had in mind. And the only other thing I want to do is maybe play with color. So there are a few things I could do. I could change this back to having a stroke. Maybe it's a random color here, random 255, random 255. You know, maybe just start it out with a random color. And yeah, you know, it's not too different. It's just a random color there. Let me maybe make it kind of opaque, and let me move this, call it a background. Let me get rid of this. Maybe let's put it up here. Background, you know, 100 to start with. I'll most definitely change that, but yeah, and there you kind of see the line kind of interacting with itself in this like this, because it's opaque, and you mostly don't really see it until it kind of overlaps with itself, and I think that's pretty cool. And it's going to be, you know, pretty different every time because of randomness. And oh man, that looks cool as heck. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. You know, I might speed it up, but you know, I also will likely just let it run for a while and then wait to save it, and kind of like that artifact. Yeah, even that by itself looks pretty cool to me. So, but going back to the prompt, it's kind of pick a new color each time. So what I want to do, and man, this is kind of just a mess of variables, but I want to maybe save these variables. So R, let G, let B, and then I want to set them to a random color up here. So R equals random 255, G equals random 255, B equals random 255. If you can't tell, I've written this exact line of code like 1,000 times, probably more, honestly. And then maybe down here, I want to do like stroke RGB. So just for fun, let me go back to this prompt. Let's draw a line, pick a new color, move a bit. So I've drawn my line. So actually, I'm only doing this just to be a little bit funny, but like literally what it says is draw a line, and then what's it say? Pick a new color. So I want to pick a new color. Pick a new color, and then move a bit is the part we already have. So pick a new color is going to be something like r plus equals random, and then I don't know, -1 to 1, something like this. This is very similar to the random walker video I posted a few days ago. -1 1 and b plus equals random -1 1, and I'm going to just see what this looks like. So what I should see over time is the line changing color. And I think I do. I think it started purple and now it's kind of getting into like a blue color. Maybe back to purple. I think maybe this -1 to 1 is too small. Oh, you know what? I think it actually probably went like below 0 or above 255 and kind of gets stuck. So yeah, let me just constrain these. R equals constrain take 3 parameters, I think. So R 0 255. Same deal for G and B. I could probably collapse this into one line, like as I add it, but I kind of like separating it out. G, B. So now I pick a new color, and then I make sure that that color is like a valid value. So yeah, it is kind of changing over time. I think maybe -1 was too small. I could really speed it up and we'd see it, I think, in effect, but let me just change it this way. Yeah, there you go. So you see that you know, the color change is more obvious now. Kind of like that. So yeah, I think that's cool. Right now I'm just trying to think about like what I want like the background color to be. Maybe it's darker. Yeah, I think that's cool. Could go the other direction, make it lighter. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like the dark backgrounds usually. So it kind of depends on what the color of the line is, but I think generally I like the darker background. Okay, I'm going to stop fiddling around with it. So I draw a line, pick a new color, and I move a bit. I think that's pretty good. So yeah, I think I'm just about done. I might play around with, you know, these values, the 5 and where I move it, this delta start X, delta start Y. I think I might change these 5s, you know, let's just play around. Let's see. Actually, let me maybe make my life just a little easier. Let me say const something like range equals 5, and then do like negative range to range. This will just make it easier for me to change that variable a few times without having to copy paste 8 different times. So that's what 5 looks like. What's like 1? Slow it way down. What's 1 look like? Yeah, one's maybe too slow. I don't know, I kind of like the sort of gradient effect. Maybe let's go the other way and let's make it really fast, see what that does. And it started out a little dark. Let's call that a mulligan. Yeah, maybe. I think, you know, actually 5 was pretty good. So yeah, I think I think this is probably pretty close to the final version of what I'm going to post with the hashtag. I might clean it up a little bit, might refactor some of these variables or something, but I think this works. So the idea is we created these 2 points with like start x and start y, end x and end y, and then we gave those points a speed. So like delta is like how much something changes each time, and we did something very similar for RGB. So we set those variables to pretty random values at the top, at the very beginning, and then we did exactly what the prompt told us to do. We drew a line, like using the random value that we chose. We changed the color a little bit, picked a color, and then we moved a little bit. So we moved the line according to those speed values, and then we made sure that the line stays on the screen by bouncing the start point and the end point around. And that's funny, I haven't really been looking over here, so this is like the first time I'm looking at it myself, and that looks pretty cool. Yeah, so that I think like that's where I would call it. I am going to play around with just one more idea, and man, I should have looked this up at the beginning or like before this video, but what I want to do is play around with the word that I cannot say, bezier, I'm not sure, but this function kind of confuses me, but I know that it takes a certain number of points. How many points does it take? So it takes at least 2 points, similar to line. The middle parameters, so 2 control points. So I think it's going to be, okay, just look down here. So start, so it's 4 points. Okay. So instead of a line, what I want to draw is a curve. And I'm just going to maybe do something a little bit silly. And, I could do the exact same thing. I could make 2 new points out of these variables, but that's going to be pretty messy, and honestly, I kind of just don't feel like doing it. So what I'm going to do is maybe start my curve in the upper left corner and end it in the lower right corner, just to see what that looks like. So always 0, 0. Then my 2 points are sort of my points that I've already been using, and then width and height. Width and height. And let's just see. So what do I need? I think maybe I need like a no fill in here somewhere. Yeah, so now the 2 points that are bouncing are sort of in the middle of this curve, and then we draw the curve, and it kind of looks like a wave almost, or I don't know, like it looks like kind of like a sheet blowing in the wind. Like I don't know why I think that, but like on a clothesline. Do people use clotheslines anymore? Probably not. But yeah, I mean, I kind of like this. Maybe it kind of looks like a seashell, maybe. I don't know. So I think what I'm going to do is end the video sort of here, and then I'm going to spend an hour or so like staring at whether I like the curve approach or the sort of line approach, but just to sort of compare what that looks like. Our old line of code was line, start X, start Y, end X and Y. So if you are following along and you want to look at the code, like here's the 2 sort of options that I'm going to choose from. I'm not sure which one I'll actually choose when I post the code, but it's either going to be this like bezier function or this line function. So there's our old friendly line. Yeah, I don't know, I could go either way. I think I'm going to call this video now and play around a little bit on my own, just by like hitting the run button, letting it sit for a while, and then coming back to it and seeing what I like. I'll probably save a few examples and pick and choose from those. But that's what I'm going to call it. So to sort of review what we did is we created the start point, the end point, and then the speed for those points, set those all to random, set RGB to random, and then we followed the prompt by drawing a line. We moved the color around a little bit, making sure that it was valid. And then we move the points around a little bit, making sure that they sort of stay in the bounds of the screen. So if you're coding along, some things you might experiment with are, I've constricted my my points to be inside of the screen, but I think there's probably interesting things you could do without doing that. So maybe your point 1 is all the way over here, and maybe your point 2 is all the way over here, so that you don't see the endpoints. And I think that would make an interesting pattern, and I think it would be like quite a bit different than what I came up with here. You could play with the bezier function a little bit more, read more about it, and make the curves, more constricted or some interesting pattern. But there's lots you can do there. You could also play with the color. I've just kind of randomized it because that's my jam, but you could make it, one thing we could do right away is like restrict it to always, I chose red last time, let's make it always green this time. So 0 maybe, and then 0 over here. So now it's just going to be a random shade of green. You could play around with that. So there's a few things you could do. I'm going to change it back to random though. Of course it's green anyway. Yeah, so like I said, I'm going to play around with this on my own and see what I like before I post it, but hopefully this gives you a baseline that you can do your own experimentation with. And if January sounds cool to you, like, please don't hesitate to tag me in anything you come up with. I'm Kevin A. Workman, I think, or Kevin Workman. You'll find me. Go to happycoding.io and then click this Twitter button to find me. And then I'd love to see anything you come up with, either if you used this as a baseline or if you didn't. I just think January is really cool. So I'm going to post this today, and then I might keep participating in January. This was pretty cool. I might go back and do some of these that I missed. I am really into some of these prompts. I think these are really cool, especially like this one, like let someone else decide the general rules of your piece. I think that's really cool. I could see like, asking someone who is not a coder to come up with a set of rules, and then you try to codify that, and that would be really interesting. Anyway, I could like read through these and talk about ideas for each of them, but I guess I'll save that for a different video. So I'm going to close it there. Let's take a look back at our end product. Let me hit random. Let me hit this play button until we get a cool random color. Yeah, purple, it's cool. And just so I have something for the thumbnail at the end. Honestly, let's change this back to line and just let it sit for a minute. Okay. Yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully this was interesting, and like I said, if you use this, let me know. I'd love to see it, see anything you come up with. So have a great day. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy coding.